Hey y'all, welcome to the 2025 Release 3 for Sage Intacct. To get to the release notes to see what's going on, we're going to go to our home screen and we're going to click here to read the release notes. Here you'll see that they have their own highlight video that you can watch that features all of these featured changes here. And you can read more at these links. As always, there's navigation here on the side panel for area-specific changes, training videos, all of that. Also got our release calendar, which covers our last release of the year, which will be in November. This release is effective August 8th. And as always, when there's a new release, remember to go into your company settings, into roles, and change your admin permissions and subscriptions to include any of the new changes. All right, let's get into some changes. The first change in the R3 release is getting ready for enhanced lists as your default experience. So basically anywhere you've seen turn on the enhanced list, they're going to push this to be our default now. They do have their own video that goes over how to manipulate and save new views in this new list feature, and it's pretty good. So I'm going to show you where I find it the most helpful and where it is not on and where it really doesn't work for like construction. So I like it in kind of the transactional level, especially like journal entries here. You can go to our general journal. And let's say I just want to find anything that's this P&L fill. Newest, best update for these lists is you don't need to put the wildcard % sign at the beginning like you used to get anything that contains fill. You can just hit fill, search. Now anything that has the word fill in it is going to come up in the search. And now for my favorite feature is the split view. It's going to pull all these transactions on the side here, and you can quickly flip in between them to compare or just look at and edit and or reverse or duplicate any of these transactions. No longer do you have to go back to the list and reopen or have multiple tabs open with different journal entries. You can just flip through them, have it filtered on the ones you want, go to the split view, and flip between them. Awesome new feature. Gotta love it. I also really like it in bills because we all know flipping through bills is a pain, but let's search for any plumbing invoices. We're just going to get Jackson Plumbing, aka not Plumbing Jackson, but Jackson Plumbing. And we'll get in here and right here. Split view. Perfect. Let's do one that's got a little bit more. Let's go electric. So we got electronics, electric. Perfect. And again, you can flip back and forth, edit, duplicate, pay, print, all from this screen here. On the list view, your delete's now on the left side with these boxes. You can click boxes and delete them and go over here. That one's paid, so you can't hit pay, but you can reverse it from here. You can pay, view, print by clicking these three dots. In here in the filters, you can filter it by, see, this is the filter I've got on, so it's listing it. And we can configure our columns here by adding new ones. Looking at the ones we've selected, you can move them here. You can also click and move them that way. You can click and drag them all over the place. You can resize them. It's really a nice feature they've rolled out here. Clean. Love it. The only thing I would be cautious of for our construction clients is in invoices. If you've got projects that you need to filter your AR invoices by, it is currently not available in our columns in the new list. Like if we go like purchasing, there's nothing for purchasing, there's nothing for projects, there's nothing for PO. So, and I have a feeling that's because in purchasing and in order entry, it's not available yet in any of the transactions here. So it's not yet rolled out for these lists. We will let you know when it is. It is available in projects though. So we've got a new project list. It's available in items. So go ahead and test it out. Shout out in the comments what your favorite new feature of the new list is. And we'll get on to the next change. The next update for the R3 release is an update to our import service that we covered last release. So last release, I walked you through how the new system works, the new import. And this release, you see how little we have? This release, we've got a bunch of new stuff. So what's new is bills. Again, limited beta, so you might not have access to this yet. We've got entities and contacts, both limited beta here. In a company, we now can import journal entries, which will be really good once they finish their limited beta. Budgets, also pretty good. You can now update fixed assets for the fixed asset manager. And then WIP and inventory control is an open beta, so you should be able to use this in your instance if you are using these. And those two are new as well. So again, to get to that, we can go to company, setup, import data, new import service. So here you'll see that we now have some new things. It looks like I am not part of the limited beta, so I do not have access to the vendors or bills or entities and contacts, but I do have these open beta, warehouse, and WIP schedule imports. So same as last time, you can create and update WIP schedules. You can download a template from here and import it the same way we did last time. We'll make sure to link the R2 video walking you through it in the description below on this one. So thank you. On to the next.
For R3 2025, there's a new way to combine multiple documents into a single transaction. So this was previously available through the purchasing module through doing process transactions. But in order to do it this new way, you'll go to Setup, Configuration, and down here in Enable Functionality, you're going to hit Enable Conversions for multiple source documents. So you want to make sure that's checked off and you hit Save. So this will allow you to convert multiple lines on separate POs into, like, let's say you're going from a quote to an order or an order to a invoice, depending on your workflows. It'll allow you to bring in multiple source documents. So I'm going to give you the example of purchase order to an invoice. So I'm going to go to my purchase orders, and I have two purchase orders here for Buffalo Building Company. And if I take a look at this first one, I have two lines. One is for Burns Restaurant and one is for Growers Association. And then I have this other purchase order here, which is for Burns Restaurant. So say I want to create an invoice and I want the lines for Burns Restaurant on both of those POs. So in order to do that, then I can hit convert here on my purchase order, the original one or whichever one, and hit vendor invoice. I'm creating an invoice off of this purchase order. When I get in here, then I do have to put in a vendor document number. So I'm going to put in a vendor document number here. And on my entry screen, I only want to bill out for Burns Restaurant. So I'm going to get rid of the gross association line. And then in my source doc ID, I have 4185. So I'm going to drop that down and I'm going to pick 14587, which is my other purchase order. And I'm going to pull in the line from that purchase order that's for Burns Restaurant. And there actually is only one line on that purchase order. So I'm going to select that one. So it's going to bring in the lines for Burns Restaurant on both of those POs. And then I can decide what quantity I want to invoice out. So you don't have to fully convert. So I can just do 4 here, and then I can do 5 on this line. So I am choosing from multiple source documents from an order and create an invoice for that. And I'm going to hit post, and that's going to create my vendor invoice, which automatically flows over to AP.
Rolling out this release, you can now view top-level journal entries at the entity level. Note this is only for the old list view. The new enhanced list has a different filtering method, and the top-level transactions are already included in your list. So let me go to an entity here and go into the general journal transactions. And right here, you'll see this box to include top-level transactions. Very similar that when you're on the top level, you can view, private, which is entity-level transactions. You'll be able to view them. You cannot delete or edit them at this level because they are top-level transactions, but you can see them here at your entity level. Another update in this release is the ability to delegate your bill approvals when you're out of the office. You can enable this in Accounts Payable, Configuration, down here under Bill Approvals, we can now enable delegation, and we can manage it here. And we can have a default person for all the users. So let's set up Sarah, and you can individually have different users delegated for certain users. So we can put Lisa on read, and obviously we don't want Sarah to be her own delegate. So I can be her delegate. And then you hit save, and then say, I'm going out of town. I can't approve bills. I'm going to be on a beach somewhere. So save this, and then I can go into my preferences. This is on a user base. Go down to my email notifications section and say, I want to delegate my approvals. It'll tell me they're going to go to Sarah. I can change this back in the configuration if I need to, if she's also going to be out, also on a beach somewhere. You can have a start and end date. These are not necessary, but like you're planning, I'm going to be out the whole last week of August. So Sarah's going to get all my bill notifications, and she can approve them for me while I'm out. And that's it. Information saved. Sarah will get all my bill approvals for that week. But that's it. Let us know if you have any questions down in the comments.
So with R3 2025, we have some updates to AP automation, and they have made some smarter email capabilities. Anyone that has AP automation is going to be really happy with that. So basically, they have added a new email domain, which is going to support the enhancements that I'll show you on the next slide. And in order to move over to that email domain for your AP automation, you do have to log a case with support to opt into that. That is just in the meantime, but in November of 2025, you will automatically be moved to the new domain. So if you do have any vendors that are sending directly to that email address, you would just have to let them know that that's been updated if you do opt in, or as of November 2025, you're automatically going to be switched. So what are these enhancements? So they're going to have auto forwarding rules, which is going to help you save time. so you don't have to forward each email to your automation email manually. They also have inline attachments. So attachments that are in the email body will be extracted for processing, and text from the email body. So transactions will be able to read even when they're in the email body as text, not just when added as an attachment. So that's a big one. And they also, bonus, now support iPhone images in the HEIC file format for incoming attachments. So that is just some of the enhancements to AP automation that are coming in R3. So we love to see those.
In this R3 release, we now have an update where we can pay bills from the vendor list and apply payments from our customer list. Let me show you how to do it in both the old list and the new enhanced list. Let's start with customers in the old list here. You'll see right on the customer list, you now have apply payments on each customer. You simply click this button. It opens basically a new screen within your screen. And it's just the receive payment screen. You can add invoices here, do your payments, receive the payment, post it, draft it, all that jazz. Right from your customers list. So if you handle receipts by customer, this is really helpful. Also, if you handle bills by vendor, you can do it here on the vendor screen. Here's the new enhanced list. So we'll go over to the 3 dots and hit pay. It pops it up in a new window from this enhanced list. And it's not going to pull the list of bills automatically. You have to hit apply filter. And there's your list here. Just same thing for paying bills normally. Pay now, all of that. So it just saves you a couple clicks instead of, if you're already living in the vendors list, you don't have to go down to pay bills. And if you're already living in the customer list, you don't have to go up to the receive payments. So let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks.
As part of R3 for 2025, they have made some updates to cash management, specifically to matching and creation rules. So if I click into cash management setup and go to matching and creation rules, and I go to add one, down here in my filter transaction by section, I'm going to choose my data source of bank transactions, and I'll see I have quite a few more options here for the field than I did previously. It used to be just posting date, transaction type, document number, and payee and amount, I believe. Now they've added all these additional ones. So that is helpful in doing your filtering for your matching and creation rules. And then in addition to that, if you go into your bank transactions and you want to create a new view using some of those fields, that ability is now available. So they've added them all in here as well to your views. So that's a nice new feature as part of R3 for 2025.
2025 R3 brings some great improvements to change request entry in Sage Intacct. For starters, you can now import change requests. If you are still manually entering them, there are some good improvements here too. When you select the project, the system will now automatically fill every line level with that project. From there, if you ever need to rearrange any of these, you're able to select them and reorder however you need.
As part of R3 for 2025, we now have support for subtotals on purchasing change orders. So being able to align this subtotal behavior between the source document and change orders is going to give greater control over the changes, improve visibility, and more streamlined reconciliation. And this all starts with your transaction definitions. So we're going to go into the transaction definition and we're going to set up brand new workflow that has this new functionality in place. So I'm going to go to purchasing, set up transaction definitions, and I'm going to add a new order, and I'm literally just going to call it new order. And it's going to be a template type of order, workflow category order, and it is going to have the enable change order workflow turned on. So this is the source document. We're leaving that alone. And then down here on our subtotals, we're going to enable subtotals, and I'm just going to put in something simple like freight, subtotal type of charge applied to line 1, value type amount. I'm going to put in 750 for it. It's a debit. It's going to debit my freight account, and my offset account is my accounts payable, which is 2,000. Okay, and it's not a tax, so I don't have to check off that. So I believe that's all the information that I want. I'm not going to do anything else with my posting or anything like that at the minute. I'm just going to set up something really, really simple just to show you this updated info with change order. So I'm going to save that order first, called new order. And then I'm going to add a second transaction definition, which is new order CO. We're not getting too complicated here with the names. So order, enable, change order workflow. This is my change document. And then when I select change document, I have the option to say change multiple source documents, no subtotals, or change single source document and sync source subtotal options. So do I want to sync my subtotals with the source document? And once I select that, it gives me the option to choose which source document, which is going to be my new order change. So like I said, I'm not going to do anything else with that there, but once I've selected that, then so let's say I go back to this and I come down here, there's nothing to do with my subtotals, but once I've selected that, still not seeing anything, but then I select my new order and it's automatically pulling in the subtotal information from my order type. So I would save that, and then that's going to allow that to sync up that information. So when you're creating your transaction definitions basically on your change order, you're just going to have this additional option here to, I don't know why that keeps flying down there on me, but you're going to have the option to change single source document and sync your subtotals. So another thing that they've brought in with your change orders is now on your subcontract. So if I go to all here, order, and look at my subcontracts and edit on one of them, I have posted changes, revised item totals. So I have in my header here information on my changes, which is great. So that's something that we would have wanted to see before. So a little bit of setup to, those transaction definitions. You want to make sure that you're using probably a new transaction definition for this going forward if you're trying to sync up your subtotals. So I wouldn't advise using an existing one and switching that. I would advise setting up a brand new order and change order workflow based off of that with the sync in place. So that is one of the updates for R3 2025.
Another cool feature that I'm very excited about in the R3 release from Sage is an import service for WIP management. They've completely redesigned the import templates as well. So Sage just made importing work in progress schedules faster, smarter, and more accurate with the new import service and workspace. Let's walk through what's new and why it matters. Some key benefits of this is expanded capabilities. You can now import with multi-tab spreadsheets, use formulas, and include extra columns. That was difficult before. There's real-time error handling, no more email error reports. Now you get immediate field-level feedback right in your browser. And there's also a spreadsheet-like interface, so you can easily search, filter, and fix data on the spot. The new importing WIP schedule data is found under Projects, All, and WIP Schedules. I can click one of my reports here. And under More Actions, I can download the import template to bring in new data. And I can also edit the WIP layout as well. And import any WIP project user entries. If anything is blank on your template, it will pull in blank on the WIP schedule. And if you already have your project manager or the CFO information filled out, if that is entered in the template, it will update here. So make sure that if you already have something filled out, not to import again. The new import service can also be found under Company, Setup, Import Data. Now you'll see something that says New Import Service. So let's click into that. So in here you can upload files, check job statuses, and review past imports all from one space. You can upload any spreadsheet, and it doesn't have to be a specific template. It just has to have the information that you need. So if you're uploading a template for locations, you will need to have that information. The workspace is split into 4 sections. You have files at the top, so you can drop files in here and look at any past files. There's a section for available downloads right here. You can choose the application area here. You have assets, chart of accounts, classes, your WIP schedule project. So this is a very cool feature. And in here, once you upload, you can also see errors and you can filter through that. And it's just much easier to work through any error that you're going to receive on a template. You can also ignore fields by choosing Do Not Import. Once your data is entered, Intacct checks your data against its rules and flags any issues in red. You can fix the values right in the spreadsheet, revalidate, and download the sheet to fix it offline, if that's what you'd like to do. To use the import service, you'll need to have proper access to the company and project modules, and you'll also need the right permissions. The import service supports XLS, XLSX, and CSV formats. Usually, we were importing in the CSV format. To see more information on the import service, you can check out Sage University or Community. I'm very excited for this feature. I think this is going to make importing much easier and also add more controls to the WIP schedules. Sage has rolled out a feature where now you can update the project contract customer even after billing. To do so, we're going to be heading to Projects first. I'll update the customer here. And then I'm going to head over to Project Contracts to update as well. So now this customer will show on any new billings. On posted billings, it will not be updated. So this allows you to maintain integrity and accurate customer data throughout the project and billing workflows. If there are any project reassignments, let's say the customer changes mid-project and you have to make that adjustment, now you can do so, even if it has been billed. You will need access to the construction package, and you'll have to have your projects configured for project costing and billing. The user type will either need to be business or project manager, and you will need permissions to project contracts. I will show you where that is under the subscriptions. You'll have to have this turned on, and you'll have to have the list and view feature under project contracts. Now, Sage has released a feature where you can automatically populate missing dimensions on project contract line entries. This ensures better consistency between project contract information and project contract line entries. So now any blank or mismatched dimensions will automatically populate when you use their new Recalc Totals tool. Let's head over to our project contracts. And if I go into Edit a Project, and any of these contract lines do not match the project contract, if I select this Recalc tool under More Actions, it will update that for me. Or if any lines are blank, it will update automatically as well. To view this update, you will need a subscription to the construction package, and you will have to have a business and project manager user type. You will also need permissions to project contracts.
Also, as part of R3 for 2025, we have some additional fields that you can access on purchase order document templates. So it now includes primary document summary and details. So just some additional fields that you can put onto your doc templates. And we're always happy to see that. So that concludes all of our updates for R3. And I know we harp on about this, but just want to mention again that you do have to go to your company admin roles, and especially for your administrator role, you want to come in here and update the permissions for that role, because whenever these updates come out, they don't automatically update the permissions for the roles. And especially for admin, you're going to want to make sure that you have everything. So as always, let us know if there are any updates that you would like to see coming. We're always putting in ideas to the community and different things like that. So let us know what you'd like to see coming in the next release.